How do I get past stubborn limiting beliefs? How do I start believing in the possibilities rather than convincing myself that I will fail, so it's better if I don't try? So limiting beliefs are really some of the hardest aspects of insecure attachment style to get past, because they function as primary filters through which you interpret all incoming information and make meaning of all incoming information. Which is why they are really crucial to reframe if you want to create more spaciousness around your thoughts and your feelings in order to attract the love that you want, or to cultivate the love that you want, or revitalize the love that you want. So limiting beliefs are reinforced by constricted energy in your body, okay? And that constriction is usually the result of a decision you made about yourself and about reality to make sense of a painful experience you had in the past. So, for example, a member of our online community said that they were struggling with getting past the belief that they're not lovable and they're not worthy of being taken care of, paid attention to, or being financially supported by a partner. So today I thought we might do something a little different and share an example of how I like to create both low vibe scripts and high vibe scripts, okay, to release stubborn energetic blocks and limiting beliefs. Okay, so by the end of this little segment here today, we're going to be using, or in this segment here today, we're going to be using uniquely tailored scripting prompts so that you can know how to identify when and where your energy was originally constricted, what beliefs you formed around that constriction, and how to reframe that experience so you can let go of what no longer serves you, and of course welcome in what does. So the idea is that you walk away with one low vibe script for identifying and releasing negative energy, and then a second high vibe script for affirming positive energy and outlook and creating a magnetic point of attraction for whatever it is you desire. So I would have you grab a pen and pencil if you haven't already, and make sure that you stick with me until the end. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Briana MacWilliam, and I am a licensed and board-certified creative arts therapist, author, and educator with more than 15 years in the field, helping adults struggling with insecure attachment go from self-doubting to self-sovereign so they can attract those soul-shaking, passionate partnerships that they want without having to talk in circles around their feelings for hours or even years on end with no tangible result. And I do this using a psycho-spiritual approach to creative arts interventions using the MacWilliam method. Today, I'm going to be sharing a clip of a live stream event that took place inside my private Facebook groups, which people can access once they've purchased one of my online courses. If you're interested in finding out if you might have insecure attachment, check out the link in the caption of this video. You'll be able to take an easy 4-question quiz and find out your attachment style, plus a detailed explanation. Now, if you like what you see in here, and you haven't yet, make sure that you like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. I put up videos once or twice a week, and sometimes I will do occasional live streams through my YouTube channel, and I wouldn't want you to miss out. So to begin, we have to recognize that a stubborn limiting belief is usually pointing us towards constriction or some kind of sticking point that needs to be seen, acknowledged, and validated before it is willing to be released, okay? And the purpose of a low vibe script is to create an opportunity to do that. So we're going to develop a low vibe script based on an example that was offered inside the online community. So again, the limiting belief is, I'm not lovable, I am lovable but not worthy of being taken care of, paid loving attention to, or being financially taken care of. Now, the person who posed this question also offered the following background information. I've carried this belief with me since I was 2 years old when my dad left our family because my mom was cheating on him, and of course my 2-year-old self didn't understand what was going on or why. Fast forward to my adult self, I keep attracting men who are unavailable emotionally, and I try to convince them to stay. Most recently, a man told me that I love you, but I can't be with you. So this individual also offered some examples of how they have been working on reframing this belief already, and they've been doing this by building a reframing bridge using qualitative words and phrases around what they recognize as a positive and true in their experience. So they offered, for example, I love being unafraid to express my wants and needs. It excites me to realize that my parents held trauma that I took on as my own, and now as an adult, I get to choose to let that go and stop taking things personally. More and more, I'm coming to understand the avoidance in partners that I keep attracting really reflects a place in me that I keep avoiding looking at in order to try to recreate my childhood and solve it. So words and phrases like I love knowing, or it excites me to realize, or more and more I am coming to understand. These are things that I have offered in my course, 5 Days to Ignite Your Love Light, because they allow you to bridge a true higher vibe emotion with a fact about your lived experience that can provide some relief in taking you further and further away from the rather heavy and inflexible belief of unworthiness, right? But sometimes that can happen a little too quickly. And the constricted energy around the inflexible belief can boomerang you back to that, inarguable negativity. So in those instances, it is really important to recognize that a stubborn, limiting belief requires a deeper dive into acknowledging and validating it before it's willing to be released. Okay, so in other words, we have to allow the inner child to express itself more articulately or more fully, let's say. So to do this, I am going to share a template from my 6-month group coaching program, Hungry Love. We're going to walk through this template together using this person's question as an example. So the main questions that these scripts focus on are, what is active in your energy body that needs to be processed, expressed, or made manifest? So in other words, what is the biggest problem causing inner conflict for you right now? Okay. What are the past, present, and future elements that contribute to this? Who were the people or circumstances that influenced your thinking on this topic? What did they say and do relevant to this topic, and how did that make you feel at the time? What did you decide about yourself or about the world in general as a result of how that made you feel at the time? What actions did you take in response to that decision then all the way up to now? What do you have to forgive yourself for? What new feelings do you want to have? What new decisions do you want to make? What new actions or commitments will you take based on these new decisions? So now I want to walk you through an example of how can we take this case example and plug it into the templates that I'm going to offer you. So for the low vibe script, okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to reflect on the significant people in our lives that may have expressed damaging words or messages about the thing that we want. So in this example, in reflecting on my desire for a caring, loving, attentive, and financially responsible partner, I remember that my father left when I was 2 years old because my mother was cheating on him. Okay, so that's the first piece. Now we're going to take a look at the things that were said, that were done, and how it made you feel. So I'm going to be riffing a little bit here because I haven't had a chance to speak with this person one-on-one, but I'm just going to riff on what I know and understand of other people who could relate to this experience, and I personally can relate to some of it. So at the time, I couldn't understand what was going on, but the message I got was, I love you, but I can't be with you. People would also have hushed and heated discussions behind closed doors around me. They would look at me with pity and inexplicable disappointment, and I could sense a cloud of shame hanging over the family as a whole, even though I now realize it was probably directed at my mother. This made me feel bad about myself, like I was a burden to my parents, and especially to my father. I felt like I had somehow done something to deserve being abandoned or shut out from what was really going on around me. Like I had been deemed untrustworthy. So I was distrustful of my own senses and my awareness of my surroundings and the intentions that other people had towards me. Like I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't have a right to expect anything. So now we move into what were the decisions you made, right? And what were the actions you took when you came to those conclusions? Well, in response to those feelings, I decided that I wasn't worthy of being taken care of being paid loving and healthy attention to, or of being financially cared for. And I took action on those decisions by attracting and working really hard to convince emotionally unavailable partners to stay with me, to convince them that I was worth loving. And when I think about it today, it makes me feel hopeless and sick to my stomach that I will never get past this habit and belief well enough to attract and keep a healthy partner. And so now we're going to add in a bit of a transition, okay, into this script. However, I also now know that this is not true and that I am making new decisions. Okay, so we're starting to weave in some transitions. But first, I acknowledge the pain and the fear that I felt about my father leaving and abandoning me without explanation. So remember, we're doing the low vibe script because we cannot skip over this, right? The person is suffering because of this and they're trying to get past it, so they tend to skip over this process if it is deeply ingrained. And we're assuming it is. So that's why we're slowing this way down to tell this narrative story, okay? So now we're going to get into the pain. We're really going to lean into the pain point here. So how did it feel when you were having that fear, right? But first, I'm going to acknowledge the pain and the fear I felt about my father leaving and abandoning me without explanation. How it was so awful when I would cry and he wasn't there to comfort or reassure me. How scared I was that we might not be able to make it past the financial struggles that followed in the wake of his absence. And all the other difficult and hurtful feelings that I still have and carry with me, like loneliness, self-criticism, emptiness, aimlessness, fears of abandonment, and financial destitution. And the fears and limiting beliefs I carry around, like I'm not capable of a healthy and secure partnership. That it is impossible to imagine that someone could find me lovable enough to stick around. That I will fail at proving to them that I am worthy of love and regard. That other people will take away their intention and hide the truth of reality behind my back. Or that I will somehow self-sabotage by trying too hard or being too needy, which will only make me a burden to them. Or that there are fundamental truths working against me and beyond my control, like love is the only is only available for a select few lucky people, and nothing I can do will change the fact that I am not one of those people. And I am either not good enough or not lovable enough to be worthy or deserving of my ultimate goal, which is to find a caring, loving, attentive, and financially responsible partner. So we're really diving into the pain here. We're really saying it, we're articulating it, and it's okay if you feel tearful or you feel that constriction. It's likely the constriction is going to come up very presently, right? And you're going to feel it in your body. And that's okay. We're going to lean into it a little bit. And now we're going to start to work on the transition, right? So when I think of these fears and limiting beliefs and decisions and I say them out loud, I feel the power that they have over me, and it can feel helpless and futile. Why should I even try? All the self-judgment, the idea that I should have done better by now, is so heavy and punishing. And when I think these thoughts, I contract and I get stuck and I push my value and my deservedness lower and lower and lower. But now I am open to seeing them for what they are. Just habitual thoughts and feelings running through my head with old energy attached to them. And I can choose to feel and release them right here, right now. I'm open to the idea that I have always tried to do the best that I could with what was available to me at the time, and even when I was angry and felt at my worst. And choosing today to open up to new choices and new ideas and feelings, I believe that I am worthy and deserving and welcome the easier and more pleasurable feelings that a decision such as that would invite. Okay. So we have allowed ourselves to feel the things, to say the things, to articulate the narrative and the story that's going on in our heads. We are externalizing it. This is called an externalization process, okay? So now we're transitioning into the high vibe piece. So I recognize that in the past I have felt like I was not worthy of being taken care of, paid loving and healthy attention to, or being financially cared for. And I decided that love is only available for a select few lucky people, and nothing I can do will change the fact that I am not one of those people. But today, I am choosing to feel those things in order to release them and make new decisions about my worthiness and the availability of love in the world in general. Even though in my external circumstances I appear to still struggle with attracting emotionally unavailable men, it does not mean that emotionally available men, and I'm just using this personal example, could insert any pronoun you want, emotionally available partners don't exist, or that I'm not capable of finding and attracting them. Doesn't mean that at all. And this does not reflect my talents, my value, or my capacities. I have more potential in me that I have not discovered yet. And so today I choose to feel excited about the new insights that I have gained around the trauma that I took on from my parents, and the knowledge that now, as an adult, I can choose to let go of that and stop taking things so personally, which means I also choose to feel unafraid of expressing my wants and desires. I also choose to focus on what real things I have accomplished in my life and the positive attributes that I have that can bring about successful results in all my endeavors. I have decided that the avoidance in my partners is a reflection of the places in me that I have avoided looking at in order to recreate my childhood in the hopes of solving it. But that is not the most useful way to go about releasing this painful pattern. I know now that I am worthy enough and deserving enough to accomplish my goal of finding a healthy and secure partner. I am capable of looking at and embracing all parts of myself that I have avoided, hidden, or discarded now with love and acceptance in order to truly embrace my worthiness and value. Whatever resources I don't have, I know how to find them or to access helpful others who can help me find them. And the truth is, I'm actually pretty smart and perceptive, and I choose to believe that it is possible for me to accomplish anything to which I apply my whole attention and focus. I am capable of succeeding at finding a caring, loving, and attentive, financially responsible partner. And others will support me by. So now I'm going to insert my own suggestions here, but I would love for you to type there in the comments, how have other people supported you on your journey? Like, what support have you found in community, in friendship, in counselors or therapists, online, in this group? And just type it there, in the chat box. But I'm going to offer you a few examples that I, postulated. So others will support me by offering me counsel, recommending good books, inviting me to community activities, engaging in insightful discussions, taking my mind off negative self-talk, reflecting back to me what they love and find valuable about me and our friendship, offering full presence and compassion when I feel discouraged, and affirming the loving connections that already exist in my life. Now, the universe will support me. So now this is where I start delving into the spiritual frame that I like to use when talking about these things, right? So what uncontrollable things would have to enter into your life or be invited into your life to help you along this journey? So the universe will support me by putting me in the vicinity of supportive individuals that can help me reframe my perspective, introducing me to partners that will help me fine-tune my instrument and become increasingly aware of what parts of myself I still avoid but need to acknowledge and integrate. Partners that will challenge me to practice expressing my needs and desires in circumstances where I may have shied away in the past, but now I need to stand up and hold my position, come what may. And by granting me opportunities to learn how to master incrementally the difficult practice of letting go of what I cannot control so that I can learn more fully to embrace that which I can. And I will make sure to care for myself along this journey by. So how are you going to care for yourself? Like, what are you going to do for yourself? How are you going to advocate for yourself? How are you going to care for your inner child along this journey? And this is kind of an important commitment to make. So I will make sure that I care for myself along this journey by taking rest when I need it, reaching out for support when I need it, making conscious efforts to strengthen the bonds and connections of love and friendship that already and continue to exist for me, being kind to myself and letting myself feel uncomfortable emotions when I have them with the intention of letting them move through me, making sure to be discerning of my environment and the people, places, and things that I allow into it and surround myself with, committing time each day to do something that prioritizes my health and well-being. So now we're going to start a reflective process in this Highvibe script, right? Now, when I think about it, there's quite a lot that I have learned and achieved on this journey so far. Insights into my parents' trauma and childhood experiences, what it is that I actually need and want versus what other people have told me I should need and want, and how to begin to love myself in deeper and more profound ways so that it could inspire a change in the way that I show up to romantic relationships. Right? And these are just examples from the case example we're working with today. Now, I've done things that were initially hard or scary, but I found the courage to push through and prevail. Every mistake has made me wiser and more aware of what I truly want, and it feels good to imagine what it will be like to inhabit my desire fully. I am fully worthy and deserving and have full permission to embrace myself as an attractive and lovable candidate for a healthy and secure partner. My current circumstances merely reflect who I've been up until this point, but who I am becoming is a reflection of the choices that I am going to make today. And I honor all parts of myself, past, present, and future, for the lessons, challenges, and rewards each part offers. With confidence, courage, and clarity, I lovingly forgive myself and accept and embrace my true brilliance and divine fire light. All of this supports me in my new vision for a caring, loving, attentive, and financially responsible partnership. So that's the Highvibe script. And so you can see, and maybe you even feel, how we've gone through a journey, right? We've done a deep dive, we've leaned in, and now we start pulling it back, right? Now we start, and with the pulling back, we are starting to create spaciousness around the energy that makes it feel like a limiting belief is the ultimate truth of your experience in reality, right? But now we're starting to realize that that is really not the case. Okay, and as you do so, not only are you creating healthier construction of words and how they're defining the way you see and perceive and interpret information, but also loosening the energy that may have gotten tied up in the beliefs that they construct. So I hope that that was helpful for you in reframing. And again, this is an example of a low and high vibe script that I usually help I call them hungry lovers. I help my hungry lovers go through in the Hungry Love course. Usually these are a precursor to a tapping exercise that we do, EFT tapping, which is called Emotional Freedom Technique. I'm not going to get into that here today on the call. We've already gone over time, but hopefully this offers you, a demo for how to kind of work your way through it.